Yes, my name is Rutvik. I'm the instructor of this course. In this course, we are going to learn about pandas. So basically, pandas is a library. With the help of this library, you can easily read any CSV file. So here we are going to read a CSV file named country underscore white underscore latest dot CSV. Basically, this CSV file contains all the information about COVID-19 cases, right? You remember COVID-19 that happened in 2019, right? So we are going to perform some analysis on the data, and after performing an analysis, you will be able to understand how to use Pandas library, right? Okay, so इसमें हमारे पास हम रीड कैसे कराते हैं किसी भी CSV फाइल को, राइट? सो हमारे पास CSV फाइल को रीड कराने के लिए हमारे पास एक फंक्शन है जिसको बोलेंगे read underscore CSV. So apart from that, also we have, if we want to check that how many functions, how many libraries or how many files we can access with the help of this, then we can easily check that we have a function called read underscore Excel. Another thing that we have a function called read underscore HTML, read underscore JSON, and so we can read pickle file, JSON file, Excel file, and many more, right? You can check from here. After that, when we read any CSV file and we need to pass the name of the file in the parenthesis, after passing the file name in the parenthesis, we will get a data frame like this. So here is a data frame. So basically this is a structural form of data. So now the question is, what is a structural form of data? So suppose basically data have two types. First one is structural form and second one is non-structural form. In the structural form we have rows and columns, whereas in non-structural form we have images, videos, etc., audio, etc., right? Apart from that, so here we read CSV file. Okay, so just a second, I'm going to write it again. Read underscore CSV, pass the name of the file. So I forgot what is the name of the file is here. Just hold on for a second. It's a COVID, sorry. Where is the country underscore wise underscore latest dot CSV? Here, country underscore wise underscore latest dot CSV right here. So I'm going to store this whole structural data into one variable. It's called df. So now if I want to print first 5 rows, then how can I print that? So we have a function called head. With the help of this head function, we can print first 5 rows of our data frame. So here it is. So again, if I want to print first 10 rows, then I need to just pass 10 in an argument and it show me 10 rows, right? So it's totally depends upon us, like how many rows we want to print. So basically the default value is 5 here, right? Now I want to know that how many columns and rows are currently in a data frame. So how can I identify that? To identify that, we have an attribute called shape. You must remember that in a NumPy library, we also have one attribute called shape. With the help of that, it gives us a value that how many number of rows this whole data frame contains and how many number of columns this whole data frame contains, right? So if it shows like this, if I use this line, and run this line. After that I get this one, 187, 15. So here rows, 187 represent the rows and 15 represent the columns. So now what does mean by row in a data frame? So in a data frame, row means data points. So every row represent each data point, right? Whereas in a columns, so in a basically columns represent a dimensions. So if you want to print, you want to set one data point in many dimensions, right? So basically I want to tell you is that if you want to see or if you want to visualize a one data point in the data set, then you must have 15 dimensions to represent that. Okay, so now we are moving forward, and now I want to check the type of this DF. So what is this? So the type of the DF is pandas.call.frame.data frame. But if you want to say anyone else the type of the data frame, then you can say that this is a data frame object, right? So apart from that, you can also access any columns available in the data frame by writing like this. Like suppose I want to access the active column, right? Here is the active column, so you will get this tab. Okay, so in this 0, 1, 2, 3 is called as the index, where this one is called as the values. Suppose if you write it like this, then you will get the first value, which is placed on a 0th index. Clear? Okay. So now how can we address this thing? So like what kind of type is contained? So again I write type function and pass the df of active. So I got I got the return value, and this is a series. So now we can, if I have multiple columns and multiple rows, that means it's a data frame. Whereas if I have only one column and many number of rows, it means it is a series, right? So now I want to calculate statistics of all numerical columns. Then I have a function called describe, right? So here it is, df.describe. It calculates all the statistics for numerical columns. Here you can see that here you have mean, standard deviation, minimum 25%. It's a percentile, right? 50 percentile, 75 percentile, max. We will discuss all these things in our EDA section, right? So now if I want to print the information about all the columns, like how many columns I have, what is the name of each column, and what data type each column contains, and how many null values or non-null values is there in each column. Basically, when you're trying to access any data set, there is a possibility to have null values, right? So you can't process null values, and you can't give input all the with the null values to a model. So you have to either remove them or either fill it with new variables or it with different numbers, right? So we will also discuss these things in our upcoming videos, so don't worry about that. Okay, so now we have information. So the function is called .info. With the help of this, we can access all the columns. Here we have, there isn't any null value here, because here you can see that there is all the 187 rows which is non-null. But here we have different data types. So country or region column contain object data type, whereas confirmed dates, recover, active new cases, new dates, new recovered, all contain numerical integer values, right? So now if I want to print last 5 rows, then what is the function for that? The function is called as a tail, right? Here you can pass the same thing. If you want to print last 10 rows, then you can write this like this. Okay. Okay. So now I want to access the median rows, right? Like 184 to 186. To access such rows, we have a function. Sorry, we have a one attribute called ilog. With the help of this, you can access any intermediate row. This 183 to 186. So here I got. Okay. So now, if I want to fetch information of particular row, then how can I do that? So we have a function called ilog. With the help of this, we need to just pass the index of the particular row, and we will get the information like this. Now, if I want to information, this is the all the index where this is the value, right? So you can also write like this. So here I'm going to write confirm. As you can see, confirm has a value 31,142. So you will get this. Okay. So okay, now it's time to run some queries. Okay, so I'm going to write a query on an active column. So I want all the rows which has an active case more than 1,000, right? So how can I do that? So first of all, I have to write query on one node first, so you can get a better understanding. Okay, so what is query here? Again, uh, print rows where active case is more than 10,000. So here we are going to access the active column first. Atf.active. With the help of this, we can access the active column. Now, okay, now the second condition is more than 10,000. So here this condition satisfy that. So what this condition do? So in the active column might be we have values like 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, 5,000, right? It check all the values and return either true or false. So this condition is false, this condition is false, right? Like this. After that, we need to pass this condition in a data frame. So here we write like this: df of df dot greater than 1,000, 10,000. So whatever value is true, it this data frame going to print that values only. So as you can see here, as you can see here, I'm going to do the same thing here, right? So if I print der, and here you can see that these values only contain the active cases. This row is printed where active cases is more than 10,000, right? So now we are going to discuss about copy. Okay, suppose whatever condition you write here, you initialize directly in a der. So for this part, computer also allocate a memory, right? Here is a memory for that. And also this, if you directly assign this value, assign all the data frame that you will get here, assign that in this variable, then this both variable access the same memory. That means whenever you change something in here, it affects this query also. So to not do that, we have to write dot copy function. So with the help of this function, Now this there function use access different memory instead of this memory, right? So that's why we use copy function instead of directly assign any variable. Now if I want to write two queries, then you can write like this. Now we have another function called group by. So what does that mean? So it group all the same queries, right? It group all the same categorical data, and I group all the categorical data, and after that I want to find the minimum of them. Then here is the function to write the that. Now if I want to find the unique name in a particular column, then here is a function to do this. Okay, and now whatever I get, I want to convert into list, then you can write like this. Clear? Okay, so to access all the name of the columns, you have functions, you have attribute called columns, and if you want to convert the whole thing into list, then we have a function called toList. Okay, so now again df.alloc. So in the first position, I'll access the first row. In the first position, I want to print this one. Then you can write like this. So because it's the last index, you can work. If you have knowledge of list, then you can easily identify that what I've done here. Clear? Now if df here, I'm going to read another CSV file, right? And here I'm going to merge both files. Now forgot to tell you that if you want to create another data frame or another column in the previous data frame, to see here is the code for that, right? So I merge both data frame on date column. So here we have 27 columns instead of 23. So clear? Now okay, now if I want to drop a particular column, then I can write labels is equal to confirm. Here I have to write the name of the column, and access is equal to 1 means it's a represent a column. If you write 0, that means it represent a row. Okay, so in place is equal to 2. What does that mean? If you do not write this here, then it returns the data frame without that particular column. Which column? Confirm, right? You have to store this data frame into particular label. But if you write in place is equal to true, right? That means it doesn't return anything and it change permanently in a data frame. Clear? Okay. Here I'm going to use a plot, right? Here I'm going to use a plot function. With the help of this function, you can easily plot any graph. Suppose I want to plot a graph on active column. So here I access the active column first, and after I write a plot function and I draw a line graph on it. Clear? Now we have another thing. So if you want to count different values in a particular column, then how you can do that? So we have another function called value underscore count. With the help of this function, you can easily check that a particular number or particular value, how many times that occur. So Europe categorical value occurs 56 times, whereas Africa occurs 48 times, right? Now if you want to access a particular type of column, right, like I want to access only numerical columns, then how can I do that? To do that, we have a select underscore d type as a include. You have to pass a parameter that you want to, right? like I want here, I want to access all the numerical columns, that's why I am write entry dot number. If you want to access all the categorical columns, then you have to write like the entry, you have to write exclude. So here you have such things. So all these three values contain, all these three columns contain categorical value. Now, so here I do the same thing for that. Okay. Now, if I want to, whatever I change, this I made in a data frame, I want to save in a different CSV file, then I just need to write to underscore CSV, and then I need to pass the name of the file that I want to store all my data frame. So here is the function for that. So all this thing for today, and yeah, probably I make a mistake something. Okay, instead of writing like this, you can easily, okay. So thanks for the watching, and if you have any query, you can comment in YouTube channel. So thank you.